Cloud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are hopping on in here. Let's get started today. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Ethan Daneberg here with the Business Academy, and good to see everyone here. If you can, turn on your webcam so I can see you guys. It'd be great to see the people out there. What's going on? Hey, there they are. Dr. McEwen, my man. How's it going? All right, let's, there they are. Dr. Chelsea and the team, right on. What's up? Arizona in the house. Perfect. Love it. GJ is here. Just you, or is the Compass Medical team joining you as well?
They're on their way and Tasha's from home.
Awesome. I love it. Great. Do me a favor, Highlands Family Chiropractic. Love to see you guys. Turn on the webcam. Come join us. Dr. Amber, same thing. Awesome. Good to see everybody here, guys. Feel free to turn on your webcam. We can get rolling with today's session. Dr. Gary Rademacher unfortunately had another commitment come up today, but I'll be taking care of today's session. I wanted to share with you guys a number of things at the day 1, day 2 procedure. After doing our communication and closing seminar this last weekend, I'm like, man, there are so many goodies that we can highlight to do a quick audit of just our day 1 to make for a better close in a day 2. So I'm sure 90% of this for most everybody here is in place or is regularly being utilized. But I think for everyone else, we could just be sure to make sure this is in place, and we can do and for everybody else, we can do a quick audit for our day 1 procedure in our office. Whether you, the doctor, are doing it, you have a case manager, or multiple offices, ensuring we have consistency across the entire platform. What's up, Shamika? Good to see you. I can always count on you. Webcam on, ready to rock and roll. Appreciate you. Awesome. Perfect. And Dr. Amber Wojtenko, it was great having you in Surfs Up in Costa Rica that last weekend. Great to see you there. We have Saskatoon in the house. Awesome. One more connection coming through. Looks great, guys. Beautiful. Right on. I love it. Good. Well, what I'd like to do with at least those that are joining in through Zoom with the webcam on and the audio too. I'd love to have you guys just quickly introduce yourself, just so we kind of have a quick round of introductions. We know who we're talking to and who's joining us today. So I just lost Dr. McEwen. Okay, I'm going to go. Oh, there he is. Dr. Mike, go ahead and unmute yourself, test your microphone, and feel free to share where you practice and what kind of practice you have.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Ethan, great to see us. Interesting to get you, and it was a pleasant surprise. You're one of my faves. Anyway, we're from chiropractor, 17, 18 years, integrated for the last 12 or 13. Sold my practice in New York, reopened up in South Carolina, about a suburb of Charlotte, Indian Land, more specifically. And we do majority regen med and minority chiropractic in my office here.
Right on. You've been a member with the Business Academy for a number of years. Just tell us from your experience, just how foundational day 1, day 2 has been in closing cash services in your
tremendous. So I learned this maybe 15 years ago. The old school day 1, day 1 and 2 that's been updated, and it's much better than it was many years ago. But the foundation is priceless because you're able to interweave. Just switch out terminology, but the concept is the same. Day 1, get them to come back, burning desire. Day 2, go over their ruin and regurgitate their ruin to the final sale, more or less.
No doubt. Awesome. I appreciate you being here. Natasha, I just want quickly to share your name, where you practice, where your practices are at, and how many practices you have, and how important the day 1, day 2 process has been for you guys.
Hey everybody, excuse me, Natasha Saavedra here, Grand Junction, Colorado and Montrose, Colorado. Have 2 integrated offices. My dog's breaking into my office, so if you hear her clicking around. Been with the Business Academy, oh gosh, since 2004, many years. The ROF, the day 1, day 2 is pivotal. It is a deal breaker or a money maker. You got to get this in, period. People have to be educated, and that's really what the day 1 and day 2 is all about, so people can make a very strong, informed decision for their health. If they have that KRC, they're going to have better control of their life, and they do that through having the patient education portion.
No doubt about it. Awesome. Love it. Chelsea, how about yourself? Want to go ahead and share about your guys' practices and then how pivotal the day one, day two, the type of office that you guys have or offices, and then how important the day one, day two procedure with Business Academy has been for you guys.
Yeah, so we're in Mesa, Arizona, integrated practice. We have massage therapy, chiropractic, physical therapy. Dr. Taylor just opened up into primary care and urgent care. She's always looking to grow, but that day one, day two process, without it, patients are asking questions throughout their care, not even coming in for full care plans, just as needed. And so without that day one, day two process, they're really looking forward to getting better and just kind of knowing what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. And then also you guys as non-doctors perform with the day one, day two, you guys do most of the day one, day two process, correct?
Yep, we do it all outside of the exam. So we'll do the initial, what he's coming in for, get the ruin. The doctor will come in do the exam. My chiro will do the x-ray day one, and then day two, it's all me or Casey doing the x-ray review, doctor's recommendations, getting them signed up on plans.
I love it. Awesome. Well done. That's the beauty about this day one, day two, whether you're a functional medicine office, you're providing human connective tissue products, you are doing chiropractic, phys med, neuropathy, decompression. The foundation of what I'm going to cover with you guys today is what builds a process that engages a patient from relatively having a relative, unknown to the value of your services and the severity of their condition, to really moving forward and being committed to a process of getting better and move on to the health and wellness journey you guys have for them. So anyways, I don't want to spend the entire time going through introductions. I appreciate you guys sharing that so far. So a couple things on this webinar and on this Zoom session. We have both seasoned members with the Business Academy that have implemented this process and is always looking to get better. And we also have new Business Academy members that are here joining us as well, kind of seeing this information for the first time or learning this day one, day two process for the first time, and then everyone somewhat in between. The beauty of this day one, day two process is that I mentioned earlier, can be adapted to your office needs. There are going to be critical and crucial points that you're going to want to always ensure to have as part of your process. But the word for word scripting, while there are certain words and certain scripts that work the way they're said every time and very consistently, you can also adapt that based on the model of practice that you have. So again, we're including everyone into the family here regarding the type of practice you have and how to do so to make it a duplicatable process through multiple offices, whether it's a doctor doing it or it's a non-doctor doing it as well, and no matter what state you're in. The only thing I will say is if I was covering the day two process, depending on your state, in some states, you can compliantly have a non-doctor be to represent the doctor when going over x-rays in the day two process. Some states, like Maryland, for example, and other states as well, licensed Dr. Chiropractic needs to go over the x-ray portion of that. So either way, we're going to be covering day one today. And I think that we can review this. And then any questions you guys have, you can feel free to pipe in. I'll answer what I can answer. And then we do have some experienced rock and practice owners here on this call. And I love to, always like to lean on them to be included in the mastermind here. So with that being said, one thing Dr. Gary wanted to go over with you guys is based on the communication and closing seminar, I'm going to share with you guys a flow chart on the screen here. And it's a simple flow chart, whether you're a phys med or you're a chiro office. And again, 90% of this can be converted to any type of office, just depending on the education. But I want to give you guys the highlights and then take some questions and see where we can improve our process in the office here. And I'll also include the PDF of this as well in the chat box with you guys. Little disclaimer as well, our wonderful Director of Client Services, Cindy Tagabi, is on vacation this week, taking some PTO, and she's enjoying her time. So I'm going to be multitasking some of the back-end stuff with you guys while I'm also presenting with you guys at the same time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Hey, Dr. Wong, San Diego, California. Good to see you, Dr. Wong. I knew Natasha would want to say hi to you. If you can pop your webcam on, we'd love to see you too. Okay, share screen. Here we are. Okay, let me get a little thumbs up from you guys. You guys can see the screen okay? Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and also expand the screen so you guys can see this more in detail. All right. Okay, this is going to be a simple flow chart you guys can utilize for both chiropractic or for phys med for the day 1, day 2 process. And again, I'll leave this with you guys before the end of the day. So you guys can see here, I'll start with the chiropractic one, just so everyone gets the idea of this. There's a few very important checkpoints that really need to get done. I wanted to share with you guys some things from front desk to routing the patient, to consult, to patient empowerment and patient education, through exam, x-rays, handoff back to the front desk, and getting the patient back in there the next day, or 48 hours with their spouse. So that's going to be the goal here. So first off, let's look at let's think with the end in mind. Little pop quiz for you guys. Feel free to open up in the chat box. I know most of you guys know this, and brownie points and crisp air high five over the Zoom for those who can get it to me first here. Here's the first pop quiz question for 500 brownie points. What is the valuable final product? The valuable final product. Oh, someone already got to the chat box. They already knew the answer to that. What's the valuable final product of the day 1? What is the end result, the ultimate, the big shebang? What is the main product exchangeable value we want to create by the end of day 1? Again, working from the end in mind, and we're going to reverse engineer this. What is the end result, the valuable final product of the day 1? Compass Medical, no surprise, Compass Medical. Great job, Natasha. Your team jumped in first there. Dr. McEwen, excellent answer. Awesome. Central Avenue Health Center, great job up in Canada. Larnie, great answer. Perfect. And then you got it, desire to return. So I'm going to give you guys just the full wording here. A new patient who has a burning desire to return for day 2, obviously with their spouse or with the decision maker. A burning desire to return back from day 2. So there's a desire, and there's a burning desire. Just it's eating away at them. They're interested, curious, and concerned about their condition, and want to see that report. So that is crucial and key to keep in mind as we are each step along the way. We're working to build and create that valuable final product of day 1. Okay, so we see here in the beginning. Now here's the first lesson. It's not an ROF point or a day 1, day 2 point, but it is an important point for every TBA member here. Notice there are multiple avenues for sources of new patients, right? So for any practice to become successful over time and to generate enough volume at the front end of the funnel of their patient journey or production cycle in their office, just like an investment portfolio, you don't want to bet the farm on one thing, right? Anybody successful will say you need to diversify your investment portfolio if you want to have long-term returns that are going to beat the market and get you the best bang for your buck in the long run. The same applies for your practice. You want to have a portfolio, a diversification of new patient Legos coming into your office. The beautiful thing is the Business Academy has systems, tools, seminars, live streams, webinars, online modules, trainings, to literally put practically any of these new patient sources in place in your office. If you're a practice owner, don't worry. You don't have to do it all yourself. The Business Academy has a full model as a part of your program to hire, onboard, and get a marketer productive, handling your digital leads, handling your outbound events, helping with your networking, developing relationships, and doing the work necessary with the standard operating procedures, scripts, and successful actions to do so. They're generating 8 to 12 qualified new patients a week on average, with 3 to 4 events happening in your office. That is all within the Business Academy. The webinar is not to discuss that, but I want to make sure all of us keep that in mind. And as we're looking at our event calendar, we'll plug here for our future events. In fact, we have a May event live streamed and in person here in Clearwater. Guess what Friday is? New patient seminar. Your CAs, your doctors, practice owners, office managers, your marketers absolutely want to be a part of that. myself and Ronna Wilson will be Director of New Patient Machine, will be helping you and your staff dial in your Google My Business to drive traffic into Google My Business, all the different hacks and tricks and things you can do right away to improve your rankings there and drive in business there, as well as training your CAs, marketers, anybody else on the exact scripting on driving in and the follow-up protocols for driving in digital leads into your office. So they don't go to waste, and you guys can have lots and lots and lots of high levels of conversions on the digital front. We're training on that this next weekend, live stream Friday and Saturday next weekend, as well as here in person in Clearwater. So you should have 5 to 7 new patient Legos if you want to expect to grow and expand your practice enough to move yourself into phase 2. If you're an office manager, a front desk, a marketer, a case manager, you want to be able to get trained and as on any of these as possible. So that's the beginning of the flow chart and the beginning of the funnel here. You have multiple sources of new patients coming into your office. All of these new patients are funneling into your front desk. Guess where a successful close starts? Not that the objection at the end of day 2, but a successful close on a cash service starts when the patient walks in the door on the check-in with the front desk. The front desk. That's key. What I want you guys to do while I'm talking here, what I want you guys to do for the next 2 minutes is go to your chat box, and I want you guys to enter into the chat box just so we can keep the mastermind going. Enter into your chat box there, successful actions in 1 sentence or less. Successful actions are best practices on how you give a new patient that walks in for a day 1 a Ritz-Carlton 5-star welcome into your office. I'm going to give you guys a couple quick hints for your day 1 right now. Okay, again, this is before the case manager ever goes in the office. While I'm talking here, go ahead and write in so everyone can see it. Everyone can see the chat box. You're going to adopt all of these into your office. What do you do? 1 successful action in a sentence or less to create a Ritz-Carlton 5-star experience and welcome for your day 1 new patient. Absolutely, Shamika, I'd love it. Have your front desk greet them by name, 100%. Front desk says, I don't know who the person is. How do I know to call them by their first name? Well, if you've been on the job for any length of time, you should know what most of your patients look like. You'll know when your new patient's coming in. And when they're, if you're ever wondering, is that the new patient? Well, it's the person you don't recognize because you haven't seen them before. And it's that time of day when the new patient's supposed to come in. I'm going to bet my paycheck 9 times out of 10, you can call that patient by their first name. And as a result, give them a warm welcome. When I've ever stayed at a 5-star hotel, I get welcomed in with, good afternoon, Ethan. We were expecting you and welcome to our hotel, or welcome to blank, right? So that's the best thing you can do. What is every individual's favorite word? Most people's favorite word in the English language? Their name. Exactly, you got it. Okay, so perfect. Eye contact's key. Smile great with the first name. Have forms ready, of course, even better. Dial in your new patient paperwork to be included within your website and or integrated with your Zingit or your Review Wave so patients are filling it out before they come in as part of their confirmation reminders to come into the office. Most of you guys have Doctable, have Review Wave, have Zingit, have New Patient Machine. Any one of these, have your forms integrated in a way they can fill them out before they come in instead of during. Now, if they do come in and they have paperwork to fill into the office, I'll give you guys another helpful hint. When you address them by their name, always make sure to stand up. If you have a seated desk at the front desk, make sure to stand up and welcome them. Some offices go the extra mile, and this is like giving a 6-star experience, a 10-star experience. The Ritzy Ritz-Carlton experience is to stand up and walk around the front desk and welcome the person with a handshake or a welcome, whatever it might be. That's like the Ritzy Ritz-Carlton experience, right? So standing up, welcoming them by moving from behind the front counter and welcoming the person into the office by their first name. Here's another hint you guys can use. I love the chats and chat box here, guys. If you haven't seen it yet, look at the chat box, write those notes down for yourself to make sure this is happening at your front desk. Big smile. Big smile. I love it. Big smile. Let's see it. Come on now, big smile, guys. There it is. Awesome, guys. Every one of you guys have amazing smiles. I've met most of you, and you can use it a little bit more, I think. I think you can utilize that smile a little bit more. And a big smile, as Natasha says in the chat box, is key. Eye contact, big smile, refer them by their first name. move from around the front desk to welcome them, have their paperwork done by integrating that within your Zingit, your ReviewWave, your Doctable, your patient machine, whatever service you're using for automated text reminders for that patient to welcome them into the office, have that integrated in that so they can fill it out beforehand. And if they don't have it done beforehand and you do your full welcome, have the paperwork ready. Here's a key thing. If you have them fill out paperwork before their appointment, please make sure they come into the office at least 10 minutes early and give them that reminder if they're filling it out in the office. That's key. And also highlight the paperwork for the patient. Most patients don't fill out everything, right? We know that. So at least highlight the things that you need from them. Have that highlighted makes it a lot easier and makes the patient burn a lot less calories to get their paperwork filled out. All right. And the last thing I'll say, I saw this from an office out in Gilbert, Arizona. It was a great way to welcome the patient. They have a whiteboard in their front desk. And on that whiteboard, it has a big and colorful letters and cool designs. It says welcome. Big, half the whiteboard says welcome. And underneath it, in a bright dry erase marker color, it says the person's first name, never their full name, just their first name. When I was walking through as a new patient myself, and I was doing an in-office delivery with them, I walked in, noticed it. I'm like, oh, wow, it says welcome, Ethan. It just gave me a little warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart when I first walked into the office. And again, as soon as I moved out to the consult room, they erased my name and they put the next new patient's name on the whiteboard. So some tips and tools you guys can use at the check-in portion of the front desk to make sure you're giving a 5-star Ritz-Carlton welcome, because the public will judge us in the first 5 seconds, the first minute or two, and they walk in. So here's the thing. You don't want your case manager, front desk staff, you don't want to handicap your case managers. You don't want them starting off from a negative to have to make up for something we didn't do at the front desk. So the close all starts right here at the front desk. Anything else here? Big smile, yeah. Big smile, yeah. Welcome, group by name, often to come in. Oh, and of course, don't forget your coffee and tea station. Have your coffee, water, and tea station ready for that person to utilize, and then make sure they're good to go. Chelsea, great point. Make sure to bring them back on time. Don't make them wait. Waiting can also kill your sale as well. Have forms ready. Love it, guys. Love it. Clean and organized. Here's an exercise for your battle plan today. If you guys are taking notes, a lot of you guys are taking notes. Here's a little note for your battle plan. I'll say it one more time. Make a note of this for your battle plan to do today. Do this today as the webinar is finished. Walk out of the office, walk into the office in the front desk area. I want you guys to walk into the office as a new patient. I want you to look at the front desk as you walk in from a fresh set of eyes. Here's one thing you want to make sure is fixed and nicely cleaned and organized. Look for dust, look for trash, look for what can you see as a new patient when you walk in the front desk area. If you can see papers and files and baskets and clutter, again, that's going to, the person will judge you consciously or subconsciously about your practice business based on what they see at the front desk when they first walk in. So I would highly suggest keeping as many things paperless as possible, keeping things in drawers, keeping things in cabinets underneath. And also, last thing, guys, I know I'm harping on this. If you just fix one of these points, you'll see a change in your close percentage. We've covered a lot of things for the check-in at the front desk. Ask yourself, how many visual messages is the new patient receiving when they walk into your front desk? Some offices have 20 posters, 6 brochure stations, a ton of DME all at the front desk and supplements, and it's almost visually overwhelming. So take a look. You should only have 2 or 3 visual messages at your front desk, in addition to your signage and branding. You shouldn't have 15 posters and 16 different brochure stations. And do you have that Word doc that's taped to the counter and it's been there for 6 years and it's got fingerprints on it and the tape's kind of wearing it off? These are just honest assessments to make when you go back to the office today to make sure your day one check-in process is solid. Again, what does it visually look like? These are all the things I look for when I'm not doing an in-office delivery and I'm being a new patient. I'm checking all of these things to make for, again, a Ritz-Carlton 5-star welcome when the patient walks in, because again, you want to have the case manager walk into that day one with a bunch of pluses versus a couple conscious or subconscious minuses. Here's one last thing I'll add to you guys, whether in the hallways, the front area, or in the consult room, you want to make sure diplomas, and a lot of diplomas and certifications are framed nicely all around. Again, you're making subconscious cues to the new patients that not only you're going to give them a Ritz-Carlton concierge experience, you're professional and efficient, but also you're an authority, right? So if you have certifications, diplomas in the consult room, that's big. If you go to Dr. Gary's office in downtown Denver, Colorado, on the way to the consult room, as you walk into the front desk and you hook a left, you're going to walk down a hallway, and on the right side of the hallway is just an entire wall of diplomas and advanced certifications of all of his providers, right? So I walk by and I go, holy cow, they have some professionals here. They know what they're doing, right? So again, whether the patient is conscious of it or not, it's lending visual branding of authority to your patient. All of these things will contribute to creating a 5-star experience at the beginning. Awesome. Thanks for your feedback there, guys. I hope you're taking some good notes today. Fantastic. Next point. Okay, intro, build ARC, and also do an office tour. Many offices choose at this point to do an office tour. I totally agree with this notion. So patient finishes their paperwork, they're good to go. Case manager walks out. Again, the standard operating procedure for your office might be slightly different. You might want to evaluate putting this in place. Again, it's the little things that build on a solid day one. The case manager would walk to the lobby, warmly welcome the patient. Dr. Gary even suggests, I don't have it on the slideshow, but he even suggests having, before the case manager takes him back, the doctor comes out, the DC comes out, or the nurse practitioner, and walks out to the front desk and welcomes the person while they're waiting, and saying that they're looking at that, and then positions the case manager. I'm Dr. Smith. I appreciate you coming in today. I know we have some issues we need to address, and I'm looking forward to giving you a full, thorough, and extensive examination. Chelsea, our case manager, will be taking a quick history with you and going over a couple of things, get ready for the exam, and then I'll be meeting with you in just a few minutes after that, okay? Thanks so much for being here. We'll be seeing you shortly. Boom, walks. It takes 30 seconds. Powerful, powerful wording while the patient is waiting. The DC or the nurse practitioner come out and welcome the person into the office. Whether you do that or not, I would suggest it. And then the case manager comes out and welcomes the patient, asks if they need any water before they go back. They're good to go. Excellent. Takes the patient on an office tour. I like a good office tour at the beginning because it shows social proof. So what is the office tour? Of course, it lets them know where everything is in the office, restrooms, and so forth, but also it gives you a quick 2-minute synopsis of what you guys do, how you help people, what conditions you help. And then it shows patients, it shows the new patient, other patients are getting taken care of for a condition that the patient may themselves have as well. So when you go to a restaurant, do you like walking into an empty restaurant or a full restaurant? A full restaurant. Why, even if the service takes longer, why do you like going into a full restaurant? Because it just feels like it's social proof. It just feels like the right place because everyone else is there. If you walk into an empty restaurant, yeah, maybe it's not the end of the world, but it almost feels like there's something wrong. Like you're going to a place that, I don't know, it's just weird. So when a patient sees a busy office, if you're doing day ones and day twos during treating hours, it helps give the feel of a full restaurant, and the patient can see that other people have committed to a process to solve a problem that they are looking for a solution for. So office tour is great, showing them around, of course, making sure to always show them where the restroom is, and then bring them to the consult room. And the goal here is you just want to make the patient feel comfortable. I'm going to give you guys 3 key things here for your day one. The atmosphere you're trying to create and what you're trying to build with the patient, okay? So first and foremost, this interaction as a case manager, doctor, you're trying to build trust. You have to build trust for this thing to work. And so these little steps before the day one are all about building trust. Number 2, building comfortability and vulnerability. When the patient has their brick overcoat, they're judging you, they're not comfortable, they're not going to open up to you about their ruin and about and help and move easily through the awareness scale. But if they're comfortable and relaxed and can trust you for a bit because they kind of like what they're seeing, then they're much more willing to open up in that initial interaction during a day one. So you have obviously make sure the patient can build trust, comfort, and vulnerability. And then of course, you're building communication. You're building a relation. you're building a relationship with the patient. So those are the key things, no matter what you're saying or how you're saying it, or procedurally what you're doing, that's kind of the end game here. We want to get the patient to have a burning desire to come back for day 2. The way we do that is move them up to the awareness scale from numb, suffering, despair, ruin, affect, slight fear of worsening. And you do that by building an environment and an aura of comfort, of trust, bit of vulnerability, relationship, and communication. Okay, I hope you guys got good notes of that. All right, so now we're going to start building ARC and doing a quick introduction. What you can do here, some highlights. You can find something you have in common with the person. You don't want to small talk for more than 30 seconds or a minute. But key things to ask, what brought you in today? Who referred you in? Those are 2 questions you got to ask. If it's a primary care, and whoever refers the patient in, you must practice this in training, practice acknowledging and edifying the referral. What does edification or edifying mean? Edifying means to clarify, or to, more importantly, to position, right? So if Natasha is doing the webinar and I'm going to edify Natasha, I'm going to tell you who Natasha is. I'm going to say I'm going to tell you all the great things about her to position her onto the webinar. You do that because you want the audience, or the person listening, whether it's a new patient or a group, to see the person as an authority, to feel the person is being acknowledged as somebody important. So during an acknowledging a referral, when you're asking the question, great, you're not asking the question, you're telling them, hey, I noticed that Dr. Smith from primary care referred you in, or looks like Cassandra referred you in, or how did you hear about us, or whatever, if they didn't mark it down on the paper or the paperwork. And they give that name, make sure to go, oh my gosh, we love Natasha. She's one of our best patients, and I'm just so glad she brought you in. She's been one of our favorites to help treat here. We're glad that she brought you in, right? Or, oh, Dr. Smith, he's an incredible physician. He's actually helped a lot of our patients over the years. And he refers many local community patients to our office, or something like that. So just something to keep in mind. It's a key referral. How do you respond about and edify the person that referred if you aren't sure who they are? It's a great question. I mean, you can give a general response, say, oh, fantastic, that's great. Well, I'm glad they cared about you enough to think about you to bring you into our office and can trust us to help you, right? You can give a generic answer like that if you don't know who the referral is, but good point. Okay, good, awesome. So now we can work into the patient's primary complaint. Obviously, OPQRST, that's on your form. Case managers, CAs, obviously doctors, I don't need to tell you how to do that. The OPQRST is key to get the documented information about the case so the doctor can review and properly do their exam and document for the evaluation and report of findings, right? So OPQRST is key. Obviously, the condition, when did it start, what makes it worse, makes it better, is it travel, radiate, the timing, et cetera, et cetera. You guys know that, but the other part to that, which is going to be key, is going to be the ruin. So now we're on the console here. Let me just go over with you guys quickly, just a reminder, bumper sticker for you guys, 3 things that consist of a ruin, right? A ruin is going to be, well, basically the definition is the thing that is ruining the person's life. It's like, it's eating away at them. They may or may not be aware of what it is, but it can consist of 3 things, pretty simple. It's going to be the symptom that they have, headaches, migraines, shoulder, but it doesn't end there. Most people go, oh yeah, the ruin is that he has a lot of headaches. That's not his ruin, that's his symptom. Number 1 is that behind that, there's going to be a functional problem, A functional problem is not just any functional problem. It is the very thing, the top priority, the thing that patient cannot do or is doing less of that they want to do. I'll give you an example of what a ruin wouldn't be. Let's say Ethan came into your office and I was having lower back pain. And lower back pain was pretty excruciating. And let's say you went, well, how does it affect you at home, with things to do around the house with your wife? And I'm like, well, I don't know, not too sure. Okay, well, are you doing things that, she wants you to be doing that you shouldn't be doing, like DIY projects or chores? Oh yeah, I can't do any DIY projects or chores. In fact, this is great because this lower back pain has gotten me out of all the DIY projects and chores. Now, again, it's a functional problem, but is it something that I can do less of that I want to be doing? No, it's not a ruin. If I said I can't do the DIY projects or chores, and I've been stalled on projects, and she's pissed off, and I'm frustrated I can't do it. I just feel like I'm I feel like I'm just feel like I'm not being a good husband. I don't know. That's an actual ruin. That means something. Or if the lower back pain is causing me not to be able to work without pain, and it's been pulling away from my performance at work, or I can't work out, or I can't hang out with my kids, or I'm too tired or too whatever to coach soccer anymore. So number one, what is the symptom? Number two, what's the functional problem that I can no longer do that I want to do or can't do as much of? You got to be able to establish that within that day one consult and work to create that through proper questioning. They go, guys, this isn't a 6-hour ROF course. It's just a day one webinar overview of everything. So the communication and closing seminar is what helps you guys to practice the soft skills and the right questions in day one to dial in what that ruin is, right? And get that patient moving up the awareness scale. The report of findings course that every one of you guys have access to and have trained on or need to train on in our training center, right? Come down to Clearwater, Florida and train on the scripts, point by point, the questions to ask, the things to do, and practicing how to uncover that ruin during the consult with any kind of personality, any tone level, any avatar, any demographic coming into your office. All right, so you establish the ruin, that's going to be key. Then the person and you move on to patient education. 3 pamphlets you guys all know of. And again, this all applies to a chiro office and a phys med office up to this point. It all applies to a chiro office or phys med office up to this point. So for a chiro office, you use the welcome symptom subluxation. You add mass, you use visuals, you ask questions to help empower and educate the patient on what chiropractic can do for them. And also, here's the key part, what to expect during the exam. The scripting for your phys med day one education or your chiro day one education that you're going to find in your integrated ROF course or your chiropractic ROF course is designed to prepare the patient for an effective exam. If you skip out on parts of it, you're too busy for parts of it, or you're too good to do the bone spur analogy, right? Or to go over the 5 points, or to go over the 3 causes of joint pain, or to go over the typical treatment cycle. If you're too good or too rushed or whatever, that's fine. You don't have to do it, but it's gonna handicap you from doing an effective exam and then moving the patient on the awareness scale for day 2. So again, for a chiropractic day one, welcome symptom subluxation. Every one of you guys, make a note of this right now. Make a note of this. I know most of you guys already have this, but if you don't, I've been to a number of offices, the doctors that do the day 1, day 2 ROF, and they don't have movable motion degeneration, spinal degeneration models. If you go to BackTalk Systems or Patient Media, you can find the 4-stage models, the normal phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 degenerative models, spinal models that actually move or don't move based on the degeneration that for each one. That's key because a patient needs to be able to feel, touch, hear, listen, read, and see what this process is. So the day 1 process for day 1 or for your report of findings includes the bone spur analogy. Super key, right? That bone spur analogy is key for the patient to feel and see the difference between healthy spinal joints and degenerating spinal joints, right? You can apply the same thing if you have a spinal model in your office, or if you have other, you can go to other resources and get knee joints. Knee joint models are key for patients to get, understanding of what the condition is in with their knee or their key joints, right? So those are key, right? So if you guys want, I'm going to move over to the phys med model here as well, just so we can reference some key education. So if you guys want, I can't multitask this. You can email Cindy and she can get this to you next week. Cindy@thebusinessacademy.com. Cindy@thebusinessacademy.com. Give it to you guys one more time. Cindy@thebusinessacademy.com. Cindy can provide you guys the PDFs or the Canva templates for day 1 and day 2 integrated pamphlets for education for joint issues, for knee, spine, or anything else. If you're a phys med office. There's some great pamphlets that Dr. Gary put together, one on the typical treatment cycle for the medical model. So patients get an idea of what cortisol injections do, obviously going from pain meds to surgery, what that looks like, to patients understand what their future is. It gives you 3 causes of joint pain, which is a perfect visual for patients to understand why they're having knee pain or shoulder pain, whatever the joint pain is. A nerve irritation, kind of nerve function chart that relates to a phys med, what the subluxation pamphlet does as well. And then it shows some pretty graphic visuals of surgical pictures for different joints, for knee especially. So those you can get with Cindy at the Business Academy. Everyone here can have access to those. And the procedures to go through those with patients, the questions to ask and how to do that is covered in your day 1, day 2 TBA ROF course or your integrated ROF course as part of your program. Awesome, guys. So then we prepared the patient now successfully to what it is that you guys do, and also the hand and let it get ready for the exam. So as we continue, we're going to now do a handoff to the provider. This is a missing element I see in a lot of offices that can really improve moving the patient through the process seamlessly, okay? So when you finish going over your pamphlets or going over your patient empowerment, patient education protocol, the next thing you want to do as a case manager, this is if you have a case manager doctor relationship doing the day 1, or provider relationship, could be your NP, your PA, or your DC. When the case manager finishes the pamphlets, they're going to say, okay, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Lindsay. She's our nurse practitioner, and she's going to do a full workup and comprehensive medical exam with you, or if you're a chiropractic office, Dr. Smith will be coming in and doing a full evaluation and examination with you to see if we can, if we find he's going to find the cause, and if we're going to be able to help you. Again, you don't know if you can help this person yet until day 2. So the word "if" is going to be key. The case manager leaves. Again, with the scurrying of the office and how busy you guys are seeing patients, you got to take 2 minutes in the hallway or 90 seconds in the hallway. Case manager in the hallway or away from the room. You need to quickly go over with the provider. Is often missing. Go over with the provider. What are the key areas of complaints? What are their key issues? And what is their ruin? You don't have to sit there for 10 minutes and explain this, but you just got to go over and pass, as Natasha says, pass the baton, right? You got to pass the baton to that case manager effectively. So you do it in the hallway so the provider is briefed on what to expect walking in and how to be an ARC, affinity, reality, and communication with that new patient. And then when they walk in, you let the provider always walk in first. They're the authority, they walk in first. Case manager walks in behind them. Another thing too, you can also do is the provider can lightly knock on the door if it's partially cracked and ask the person's name. So I'll go, knock, knock, Natasha, small point, because what will the patient say? They'll say, yes. And the person will go, yes, that's me, or yes. And what you're trying to do too, this might be silly, guys, but as you want to make as many agreements as possible, consciously or subconsciously. You do that, you want to get the patient saying is yes as many times as necessary in the day 1, day 2 process. It's just one more yes as a part of that direction. So the provider walks in, case manager behind them, and the doctor or provider introduces himself. And then the case manager, you do exactly what you did in the hallway, just in an abbreviated format. You pass the baton in front of the patient. You audibly and vocally out loud share with the provider what's going on with the patient.
You told her to pass the call though.
Oh, hey guys, if you can mute your microphone, that'd be great. Hey guys, mute your microphone, please.
Oh.
Thanks, appreciate that. Perfect. Good. So if you can, the case manager will pass the baton to the provider in front of the patient. So Dr. Smith, Mrs. Jones has been suffering from migraines every day for the last couple of years. She hasn't been able to be with her kids very much, and she's really been struggling with that as a parent. So hoping we can figure out what's going on. Doctor says, oh my gosh, that's terrible. No problem. Let's go ahead and see what's happening and start the exam. So make sure that handoff happens in that way. It doesn't have to take a long time, but again, quality over quantity for the handoff here. Then the provider does the exam with the patient. Dr. Gary did a great job in our communication.
Good. Sorry we missed your call. I think
guys, do me a favor if you guys can mute your microphone.
And she's like, I think he called you, and then I turned around and had a message.
Sorry, guys, if I can get this troubleshoot here, guys. Please put your microphone on mute if you can. Dr. Amber, I think if you can mute. Okay, good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allison, if you could put your microphone on mute, please, that'd be great.
No, yeah, it's me and Dr. Amber.
Megan, if you could do me a favor, Megan, you can just put your microphone on mute, please. All right. There we go. Perfect. Okay, all good to go. Then the doctor exam. This is going to be key. I'm not a doctor, so I won't dive into this. I'll have Dr. Gary do this for a future webinar with you guys. But this is going to be key. you have an option. You can tell the patient what's wrong with them, but the way this whole day 1, day 2 process works is based on the patient coming up with their own self-determined, this is the key word here, self-determined realization and decision to do your program. You can't strong arm the patient to doing this. You can't tell the patient to do the program. Honestly, all you're doing is holding them accountable and nudging them towards the right solution. The patient has to move through this awareness scale. Again, numbness, suffering, despair, ruin, fear of worsening, need for change, demand for improvement, hope, and help. They got to move that track on their own. So as a provider, here's a couple key things I want to make sure providers are avoiding. Please avoid using big words. You can use big words with the case manager as you're documenting findings. So the case manager is typing in and doing the documentation during the day 1. So if you're doing a palpation and you find subluxation or you find something, you can audibly, give the big fancy word to the case manager. But if you're talking to the patient, you're trying to explain to the patient what's going on, you want to avoid big words when you can. Otherwise, you're just going to create, the new patient will not register what you're saying. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to register what you're saying. So keep it at a 5th grade reading level if you can for the new patients that come in. Also, ask questions of the patient instead of telling them. So if you're doing a range of motion, ask the patients. This is a key script from your day 1 and day 2, and it can easily fall out. Ask, what did you notice? What did you notice? So range of motion, you have a range of motion that isn't, not a non-full shortened range of motion. Provider, ask the patient, okay, so what are you noticing there? Oh yeah, it kind of like hurts, digs in right there. Yeah, that's not good. Second thing, that's not good. Use appropriate acknowledgements. Avoid the use of the word okay. We all have a habit of saying, okay, all right, okay, good, okay, all right. See if we can take a look at that, okay. I'm minimizing the patient's problem. We want to maximize what the patient's minimizing. There's a reason a patient sees you after 20 years of being in acute and chronic pain. In chronic pain. They haven't been confronting it. Most patients, if they have an acute issue, it's because of 5, 10, 15, 20 years of not confronting an existing issue. And then boom, it flares up, or boom, it's a big problem. Now they're confronting it in your office. So you have to maximize what they're minimizing. Most patients are going to minimize the problem. Right? It's not that big of a deal. It's not that bad. Oh yeah, it's kind of like this. You got to maximize the issue. That's not good. Right? So again, appropriately and empathetically acknowledge the person. Somebody said, I said, yeah, I'm not able to work anymore. I'm really concerned that I'm not going to be able to provide for my family anymore. And I'm concerned about that. I said, okay, all right, okay. Is that appropriate? No, of course not. An appropriate acknowledgement would be, oh, I'm so sorry. We'll have to take a look to see if we can find out what's going on. Right? An appropriate acknowledgement. Practice negative acknowledgements. It will help you in life too. Empathize with somebody better and connect with someone that's going through something tough. An appropriate acknowledgement is going to be key. So a couple quick things for the exam for the providers. Just make sure, ask questions. What are you noticing? What's going on there? You're doing a palpation, you really hit a trigger point or an issue that's a problem. Ask the patient, oh man, what is happening there? What you feeling that? Oh my God, that's where I carry all my stress. Oh yeah. Oh, that's not good. What about here? What's going on here? What have you been doing? Right. And again, it gets the patient to interact and start to notice it. They're not a passive observer in their own journey to getting better. All right, so you finish the exam. I'm not going to dive into that too much outside of just the highlights there. And then off to X-rays, and off to imaging. Sometimes in your office, a CA, an X-ray tech, or the case manager does the X-rays, or the doctor does the X-rays. Just depends. Either way, before the doctor or the provider leaves their interaction with the patient, it's important that the provider wraps up with, I'm looking forward to seeing if we can help you. There's a lot of issues going on. Myself and our team of providers, if you're an integrated office, myself and our team of providers are just going to review everything here and see if there's a plan of action we can take to get to the root cause of this and to get you back to doing whatever it is that the person says is their own. And if we can't help you, I'd be more than happy to refer you out to the right person that can. Right? So it lets the person know, put at ease, right? I can trust this person. And it's going to be important though, as we go over your report of findings tomorrow. So, right, so I always say tomorrow, if in fact you can see that person tomorrow. So the doctor says, when we see you tomorrow, it's important that we also have your loved one or a spouse with you as well. If we can help you, this is going to be quite a commitment to getting better. And I want to make sure you have your support system here with you as well. Is that something I can get your agreement on? Awesome, that'd be great. Thank you. Good. So the doctor plugs the seed there. If you're trying to get a better show on day 2s with a decision maker or a spouse, make sure your provider is mentioning it first. And then the case manager can mention it. And just all you're doing is you're building off that initial agreement with the provider, with the first authority. Good. All right, so the case manager is off to doing x-rays. Those get done, or the x-ray tech is. Either way, whether it's the x-ray tech, a traffic cop, case manager, when you are finished with those x-rays and you're moving them back to the front desk, it's important to also do a strong pass to the front desk as well. And when you do that pass, you have to also echo what the provider said. You're echoing that tomorrow, let's go ahead and, right? We don't say, do you want to, or is it okay if? No, we say, let's go ahead and, or your next step is. If you guys are just taking down some notes for your scripting and your SOPs at your office, let's go ahead and whatever the action is. Your next step is whatever the direction is. Let's go ahead and get Mrs. Jones scheduled tomorrow with her spouse for her report of findings. She has a few things going on, and the doctor wanted to make sure to see her for her report tomorrow with her spouse. Right, Mrs. Jones, it's a pleasure seeing you. This is Natasha at our front desk. She's gonna go ahead and schedule you for that appointment with your spouse. Okay. Okay. Take care. You leave, and the front desk goes into that scheduling for that next appointment. You're just assuming, and all you're doing through the front desk, all you're doing is just following through with the agreement that was already done. If the case manager or the doctor, if you guys are not doing a pass the baton and a handoff in front of the patient to the front desk to get scheduled for day 2, you're likely going to see some fall off to a certain degree. You're likely going to see the patients not scheduled with their spouse. It's super important you run tight control on this entire process, so the baton's always being passed to the patient in front of the patient. So case manager, doctor, x-ray tech, whoever is routing that patient back to the front desk, they need to be routed, not sent to the front desk. They get routed to the front desk. The baton is passed out loud, audibly, right? You're like calling an audible to the front desk with the patient to echo what the doctor already said about coming in tomorrow or coming in Monday or whatever the next day is that's available for a report with the spouse. You got to ding this stuff in with these people over and over and over and over and over again. Do it simply and easily. Let's go ahead and your next step is. Case managers, sometimes it's even best that you just go and get behind the counter and you can give your front desk a hand and you schedule the person. That's based on the protocol of your office, that might be fine too. If you have a relationship with that person that day 1 and you were there the entire day 1, it might be more productive that you schedule them. Again, depends on your office and the logistics of that's possible or not. If you're not doing that, you got to make sure that a strong pass to the front desk is being done in the way I just described. And that will allow for a higher percentage of your new patients coming with the decision maker on their second visit and doing so as soon as possible. So with that being said, there's kind of your day 1 in full, whether it's phys med or whether it's chiro, and again, if it's decompression, guys, everything stays the same besides your patient education pamphlets can be changed. If you're doing functional medicine, everything here stays the same besides you have a couple pamphlets on functional medicine. Just like Compass Medical does, if you do neuropathy, this all kind of stays the same. You just do some patient education on neuropathy with some key pamphlets or videos on that, right? So that's going to be key. Otherwise, all this stuff is going to stay the same. So with that being said, Natasha made a good point here in the chat box. Make sure to build mystery, which will drive them to return, right? So if we can help you, right? Our team of providers will be reviewing your exam today, and we're going to get to the root cause and see if this is something we can do. And if we can't help you, we'll refer you to somebody who can, right? One more tip before the end here, and I'll take some questions from you guys if you guys would like. I know I'm pushing the envelope on time here, but one more thing. If your day 1 does not return for day 2, or they call in to cancel their day 2, here's a script you can use at the front desk that has worked very successfully over and over and over again. We'll +1 for you guys here, bonus value add. Oh, Mrs. Jones, I totally understand. The doctor, after our team of providers reviewed your x-rays, and there were some concerning things they wanted to make sure to go over with you. So let's go ahead and get that appointment rescheduled. I can find a better time for you. Does today or tomorrow work better for you? Excellent. Today, great. I do have a 3 o'clock or a 4 o'clock, which works better for you. 4 o'clock, excellent. Good. So I have you in for 4 o'clock, and the doctor will be going over those findings from your X-rays. So there's an office I was at, same office in Gilbert, Arizona. They used that one script on a day 2 that dropped. They called the patient back, contacted them. The patient, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'll come in, because the person had previously canceled their day 2 appointment, saying, no, I'm doing better, I'm fine, I don't need to come in. They said that the patient came in, the patient did a FizMed and a regen package as a result of that day 2. It was like a 5-figure package. Guys, it's a key script for the follow-up from day 1 and day 2. And if the patient doesn't call you, guys got to call them and work that drop off there between day 1 and day 2. All right, hope that helps everybody here, guys. I'm going to quickly, while I'm taking some questions, I'm going to load this PDF up into the chat box for you guys. And any comments or questions, you can feel free to open up your microphone and jump on in. Don't be shy.
Hey, Ethan, I have a quick question.
Mhm.
So sometimes, I mean, not often, we have a pretty good return rate for day 2, but some patients won't have gotten their x-rays taken. So I really like that script for if they've actually gotten them taken. But how would you change that script if they hadn't even bothered to get them done yet? Because we don't do them on site.
Yeah, understood. I would just say you have to just convert that to the value of the exam that was done. So, our doctor did review your, after doing the exam and reviewing what they found, you can even, and for you guys specifically, you could even say your team of providers, because you guys have multiple doctors, chiropractors in your office. Our team of providers and doctors did review your exam findings, and there was a few concerning things they wanted to go over with you. Or there was something concerning, or there were some concerns. I wouldn't say a few. There were some concerns they wanted to go over with you. Let's go ahead and just get you scheduled to meet with the doctor, or let's go ahead and get your imaging scheduled as soon as possible. You guys schedule the imaging with your outsourced imaging center, or to the patient that you just refer them somewhere?
It's just a walk-in clinic. And like I said, this is like very few patients, but it's just the couple that, I mean, you don't like losing anyone. So
No.
We want to make sure everybody goes to get them and comes back.
I would give that a go. Yeah, I would do it that way. I'm going to ask, I'll ask Tosh. Tosh, I'm just finding this PDF for the group. Do you mind adding to that? Do you have anything else you would share on that for a dropped day 1 and day 2 because of didn't get their x-rays yet and haven't quite gotten that done yet?
Oh, I mean, everything that you said was pretty spot on. That's the handles that I would use. I would ask them what barriers they had in being able to get the x-rays and find out what is the reason. Like, is because they didn't have time? If it is, then say, it's really important because there was some concerning stuff in regards to your evaluation. We definitely need to see if you have that 5th component of spinal degeneration. So if you go back to the pamphlets, I just made a copy of it. Which one is it? 5 components of subluxation.
Mm-hmm.
The last one, you're saying you have the first one, decreased range of motion. You have the second one, symptoms also in the body. There's abnormal muscle function. There's soft tissue damage or swelling. In order for us to really be able to help you from this point forward is getting those x-rays taken. And your exam has led us to indicate that there is that 5th component of degeneration. We just need to see to what degree. So what day this week is going to work best for you to get in and get those x-rays, and I'll get you an appointment scheduled right away.
That makes sense. Perfect. Good. Excellent question. All right. Any other ones you want to tackle here before the end of the call here? Awesome, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. Now, a couple quick things. I want to make sure you guys all have a copy of our next 4-month calendar here. We have May through August that is available. And again, guys, we are live streaming every single month for you and your entire team to your office. So for those that are a part of it, and those that are looking at it, I would absolutely I couldn't emphasize more the importance of the TBA's communication and closing seminar. I just finished doing part A again with the group. We had about 17 people here, 17 offices here at the local Clearwater office. It was incredible, covering all the basics, all the soft skills you need to connect with any patient on any area of the practice, as well as really diving into doing a lot of drilling on day 1 and day 2 and objection handles. So that's coming up each month at the beginning of the month, but also our new patient workshops coming up here later this month, May 20th. And then we have our next implementation session from Management Basics coming up as well, live stream, as well as here in person, May 21st, covering huddles, meetings, staff meetings, how to implement them, what to say, what to do, the forms, the templates, everything you need, guys. We're pulling all stops. We're going to be implementing that for your practice. Next month, we have 7th Division coming to Clearwater, Florida. Super pumped about that. June 23rd, Thursday through 25th, Saturday. We have our new patient workshop next month covering, well, you guys all saw Dr. Lisa Palmer here on the webinar the last month. She's gonna be delivering a 3-hour new patient training with, for all CAs, all practice owners, all office managers, how to do low cost, no cost marketing in your office to generate community involvement, patient relationships. She gets 30 to 40 patient referrals a week into her office, and she'll be presenting at our seminar next month, June 25th, live stream and in person. June 24th, new patient workshop, and then June 25th, we are going to be doing implementation all day long of putting in hats in your office. We're going to get developing hats, the A to I steps for putting hats in place, documenting them for every role and responsibility. Listen, if you guys are going to succeed as an office manager, if you're going to succeed as a practice and grow and scale, you have to document your processes. You have to document roles and responsibilities. And we'll be actually having an implementation session all day live stream, as well as in person here in Clearwater, Florida, June 25th. So guys, mark your calendars, get them ready, print this event calendar off. If you can, make sure to have that ready. The agendas are also available on the website. If you guys go to thebusinessacademy.com, log in under members on the left-hand side, you can get all the information on all of our upcoming events in person and live stream under the events tab on the website, thebusinessacademy.com. Really appreciate having you guys all on here. It was a packed crowd today. Hopefully these goodies are going to help you guys close more patients on cash services. Stop waiting for insurance companies to pay you guys more. They're not going to. Stop waiting for your attorney receivables to come in sooner. Your PI receivables, they're not coming anytime sooner. They're still going to take a year and a half to get to you. Close on cash services today in your office. Aesthetics, neuropathy, decompression, chiropractic, regen, all of these things you guys can apply this day 1, day 2 process to. Get through, become a part. Christina was part of the communication and closing seminar. You loved that. You were with us in part C last month as part of our communication closing seminar. That's awesome. We'd love to have the rest of you guys there. If you have the report of findings on your account, do the report of findings training in the course room. All of you guys have that available to you. Get through your master closer training. I'm telling you guys, you'll be able to close cash plans on any one of your patients and stop being the adverse effect of insurance companies, reimbursements or lack thereof, or from personal injury receivables, and just start moving your cash flow, right? What does Grant Cardone say? Cash flow is king. Get that cash flow going, guys. Serve a lot of people. Let's go ahead and see what we can do and save some lives, all right? Great to see you guys as always. I'm going to see you next week, I believe. We have a special guest next week, next Tuesday. I believe on our virtual mentorship session. Tosh, what are you covering next week on our virtual mentorship session next Tuesday? We have a really awesome set of PowerPoints you're going to be going over.
How to be an effective leader, whether you're the CEO or you're a front desk person, you're a case manager, everybody can be an effective leader, no matter what position you hold in the office.
Awesome. So it's going to be the 10 do's and the 10 don'ts of an effective leader, guys. So super important. Everyone, CAs, front desk staff can go through, but if you're an office manager, production manager, anywhere in management, you've got to be on next Tuesday's virtual mentorship session. Guys, she went from being a TBA coach to having 2 very successful offices in a matter of a couple of years. I think we have a thing or two to learn about a thing or two from Natasha Savidra next week. So that's Tuesday, 12 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Mountain, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. All you guys got to do is bring your questions, bring your needs, and I'll bring the experts here for you to help you succeed in practice. Looking forward to seeing Natasha next week, next Tuesday. Be here and succeed. And I'll see you guys at our next week also for our May event here in Clearwater, Florida, live and in person, as well as through live stream. Take care, guys. See you next week.